He's almost like the Deepak Chopra of Muslims right now, you know, because the majority of Muslims in the world would not necessarily agree with Imam Rauf's Sufi rhetoric.
But they would surely agree with the fact that it's better for Christians and for Jews and for Muslims to get along better than they currently do.
Yeah, but Imam, the question is, who is going to represent Islam in America?
But he's never claimed to represent Islam.
Well,
he's
right now,
himself,
in the media, around the discussion around the country, he is the man who is representing Islam for all Americans. And I know a lot of Muslims who feel that this structure is so divisive and has created so much anger that none of us would feel comfortable going and praying there. And I am a person who has been targeted by Islamophobia myself, so I know what it feels like to be attacked.
That's interesting. You're saying you wouldn't feel comfortable going to pray at this Islamic centre. We've spoken to a lot of New Yorkers, Jewish New Yorkers and Christian New Yorkers, who've said even though there are plans for prayer spaces within this centre for their faith, they wouldn't feel comfortable going in there either. OK, we're going to have a second try at speaking to Dr. Alvi in Karachi. Sir, I hope you can hear me better this time. What's been the reaction to the threats of Quran burning from people in Pakistan?
On behalf of all Pakistanis and Muslims in Pakistan, I think we have total outrage as far as the Quran burning incident goes on. It could be labeled as a freedom of expression, but it is not. I think people should understand that there's a religious boundaries of each religious sect, be it Christianity, be it Buddhism, be it Judaism. You can't cross that and kind of burn your ridicule your prophets or ridicule our holy book. I think it's completely outrageous that the act that they tried to do, a small-time pastor in some small-time town is trying to going out and trying to burn the Quran. I completely object to it, and I'm completely against it.
So thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. Apologies for the slightly poor quality of that phone line. If you want to read Dr. Alvi's thoughts, if you put Dr. Awab Alvi into the search engine which you use, you'll throw up his blog without any difficulties. Let's go back to Father Gresh in Cairo, because, Father, I understand you've had difficulties setting up a church in Cairo. Tell us your experience.
Well, my original church is in Heliopolis, and the people are moving towards East Heliopolis. So we have to, from here to the 3, 4, 5 years coming, we have to plant another church more east of Heliopolis. I don't know if you know Cairo. And we have already 170 families living at that part of the city. And we really need a church. We asked for one. We made all the applying necessary, and we don't have a no, but we don't have a yes. And we're 2 years in this situation. So it's not so easy.
Thank you. Let me just interrupt you for a moment, because we've had a call. I'd like to bring them in on this issue from Ehab. He's watching BBC World News Live, and whenever you're watching World Have Your Say on BBC World News, you can always call us up. Ehab's done that from Dubai. Ehab, do you think that Muslims also need to show more tolerance in the way they're asking the same of Americans?
Hi. Look, yes, I do think that the proposed site could have been thought through a bit more thoroughly. There is the sensitivity, of course, of the location, and that is something that does need to be taken into consideration. However, the point that I really do want to make regarding this is that you do not hold a religion hostage and millions of followers around the world to try and get your point across. The media has inflated the situation by their coverage of the pastor. The pastor, in my opinion, is doing this out of pure ignorance, is the only word I can describe it. Only because
let me interrupt you here, because I can hear, Ehab, sorry to interrupt you, I can hear Susan agreeing with your point about the media. But when General Petraeus and Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton will come out and say what this pastor's plan to do is terrible, what should journalists like us do? Ignore it?
First of all, there used to be a tradition in the United States that the true kooks just didn't get free airtime, they didn't get free coverage, and now we've moved to, unfortunately, a more British tabloid style of coverage, where people who are truly the lunatic fringe are getting huge amounts of press,
but
and
the
then
huge
are
amounts
elected.
Of press kicked in when General Petraeus said if he goes ahead with this, it could put Americans.
How did he know about it to begin with? I mean, I think it's really interesting. Well, I think it's really interesting. There was plenty of coverage before Petraeus stepped in. Petraeus stepped in because there was coverage. This has been a very interesting and very skillful media exploitation, and I think it's important to remember that the polling across the United States is one thing, but the polling here in Manhattan, the majority of Manhattanites, the people who actually live here, understand the city, understand the neighborhood. They don't have any problem.
Well, that is certainly true. In our week here in New York, the majority of people who've asked have supported the idea of this cultural centre. A quick comment from you, because we've got a caller coming in from Tehran.
The pastor in Florida is just like the balloon boy right now. So he's been picked up like that, but I disagree with you. I'm a New Yorker, I'm a Muslim, I don't want this mosque. I think Imam Faisal is onto something to get more publicity, and his motives are suspect, and already there's been a considerable amount of reporting about the builder, Sharif al-Gamal, and about his background as well. So they could have easily chosen another site, and I don't think they speak for all Muslims. The question is who gets to represent Islam in America?
But surely the point is that no one gets to represent Islam.
Any more than anybody represents Judaism.
But let's bring in David. He's on the phone from Tehran in Iran. David, what's your point?
Hello, Ros. It's a pleasure talking on BBC. I think the act of mosque construction will help to the integrity of Muslim communities in West, especially in the U.S. It can be considered as a starting point for normal Muslims' relations with other religions and a sign to the world peace, especially when there would be gatherings for all religions at the mosque. It's a bit hard for me to call it a mosque then. Over here,
let's be clear. Let's just clear this up before you carry on. It's not a mosque. It's a cultural centre with a prayer centre. It's become known as the Ground Zero Mosque. Technically, it's not a mosque, but carry on and make your point.
Okay, thank you. This mosque provides, or Zero Mosque, as you said, provides Muslims a unique opportunity so that they can express white Islam to the other religions, an Islam that is away from excessiveness. Over years, we have seen that immoderation exists in all religions because they all can have radical interpretations. These two issues are very related to each other, and Quran burning can ruin the benefits of Ground Zero Mosque. I want to use this opportunity, if I may, and thank the pastor in Florida, Mr. Terry Jones, for the right decision that he made. If he insisted on doing this, there would be serious consequences and conflicts in places like Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq, and other Muslim countries and communities across the globe.
I'm sorry David's had to jump in because we're right up to the end of the programme. You are the first person I've spoken to who actually says they want to thank the pastor. Do you think in the long run Americans might look back at this week and say it has been a chance to talk about things which maybe we haven't been addressing over the past few years?
Just 72 hours ago, I was walking Hezbollah-controlled streets in Lebanon, and I did a totally unscientific poll of people over there and what they felt about the mosque. The majority of opinion was that this was not a good idea. This is a very complex issue. Americans don't realize how complex it is.
Well, if they didn't realise before, I'm sure they do at the end of this week. If you want to carry on talking about this, do join me on BBC World Service Radio at 17 GMT. Thanks for your company. Goodbye.